Welcome to the Nightly Rant
with
your hosts, Mike
and Torya.
This is the show where we examine society from a sarcastic point of view.
If you like insane conversations, this is definitely the show for you.
Let's get into today's topic. YPN people, I don't know about you, but I love helping out a friend. That's why I want to shout out my friend Brian Little and his podcast, Your Favorite Blockhead. This is the only show that manages to weave together peanuts and MMA into one heck of an amazing podcast. You can find Your Favorite Blockhead wherever your favorite podcasts reside and at yourfavoriteblockhead.com. Do me a huge favor and listen to Brian's show. You'll be entertained and you'll help out a friend. Now, as I said, let's get into today's topic.
So I heard something today that I guarantee you is going to backfire.
It already has.
Well,
Come on now.
So first things first, you got President Biden. Honest to God, the worst president of my lifetime.
Simply because of the inaction.
It's a dumpster fire of inactivity. Like, they don't do anything about anything. They just sort of point the finger, and they think that that will work, that they can just blame other people. And you know what? With a certain number of ridiculously stupid people, that works. But with the people who actually use their brain to think, that just doesn't work. You can't just keep pointing your finger and blaming other people. But now, after much time in focus groups, yes, they spent money on focus groups.
This is what they spend your taxpayer dollars on,
They came up with, well, don't forget, caveat, it couldn't have been taxpayer money because this is campaign expense, so it would have had to come from his donations, which, have nothing at all to do with his government position.
Not Secretary of State, the press secretary's office is the one that did the focus groups, which is what you said earlier. Then how is it being paid for by his campaign?
Stop being logical.
Isn't the press secretary's office paid for by the White House?
Well, sure, but maybe
Isn't the White House paid for by the citizens of America?
But maybe that time was billed to the Biden-Harris campaign.
Do you see that pig flying by right now?
I mean, maybe that's the case.
Do you see it?
I'm sure that's what the documents will say.
A porker with wings.
Well, I'm sure that's what the documents will say. I mean, anyway, the ethics of that are just not there. But he decided...
Come on, man.
President Biden has decided that declaring that the enemy is the Ultra MAGA, led by the Maga King.
The great Maga King.
The great Maga King. The Ultra MAGA, led by the great Maga King. Does that sound like an insult to those people, to you? Because, like, my gosh, this is Trump, who, he was competitive over how loud he farted. This is Trump.
How small his hands are.
This is Trump, okay? And you think calling him the great MAGA King is going to be an insult to him?
It's like an ego pump.
He's like, damn Skippy, I'm the MAGA King. I'm the king of making America great again. That's what MAGA means, in case you've forgotten, Mr. Joe Biden, President of the United States of America.
It's so funny. That is the funniest piece of news I have seen in ages.
But how is that an insult?
It's not.
I mean, and let's be real. If you're a Trumpite, or a Trumpette, or whatever they call themselves, a Trumpy, I don't know what they call themselves. I really don't. So I'm not trying. Please don't be offended. I'm not offending anyone.
Trumpanzees.
Well, that's offensive, but I don't know what they call themselves. So whatever you guys call yourselves, insert here. Do you think if that's who you are, that calling you an Ultra MAGA makes you feel bad? No.
It feels like a badge.
It's like I'm not just make America great again. I'm Ultra make America great again. I'm the big one. I'm like, we all know this. You go to a place and you get the, Jimmy burger, or you get the Jimmy Jr. burger. Which one's smaller? The Jimmy Jr. burger is always smaller because that's why it says Junior. Right. Well, if you get the Jimmy burger and the Ultra Jimmy burger, which one's better? The Ultra Jimmy burger. It has to be because it's Ultra.
Right.
Well, the Ultra MAGA must be better than the MAGA. And so you're telling these people that they're the best people out there, and you think that's an insult.
You buy Cascade or do you buy Cascade Ultra for 50 cents
Right.
more?
And that's
come on.
That's the thing. And that's what they're going to call them, and they think that's going to be a slap in the face. Tell us how that goes, and when midterms are over. Tell us how that goes, because I think it's going to be a massacre. I can't believe how dumb the strategists are.
As a person who gets called a Trumpenzi quite often, I must say, the people of the internet just don't understand my ultra-Canadian consistenciness.
Well,
anyway,
it really comes down to this. We had a big episode about how people, they don't care about outcomes unless the outcome they agree with it.
Yes.
Otherwise they refuse to accept the outcome. And that when I preached that I think people should accept outcomes and like regroup, and if there's a way to attack that outcome, go for it. But if not, because one of the things it's going to tell you in the law, this law prevents me from being able to rule in your favor. Okay, now you know what law to get changed.
Right.
Get that law changed and come back to this judge and ask him to reconsider, and he will reconsider.
Don't just yell and scream outside of that judge's courtroom forever. He followed the law. He can't do anything about it. Go yell and scream outside somebody else's door that can change the law.
Bingo. And that's what happens is, if you don't agree with them, they don't go to the length that we just went through to have logic and say, you should go find out what stopped you from winning this time. That law right there? Good. Let's go have that law changed. That might not even be the winning point.
Right.
Because the next time the judge should go, well, now that law's not there, this law is now blocking me from being able to rule against. And then you go and have that law changed. I mean, you just keep going. You don't do what you just said, which is scream and yell, and that's what they're doing. Right. Screaming and yelling outside judges' homes, because that's just intimidation. And that's really stupid. And it doesn't accomplish what you want. It actually accomplishes the opposite. Because eventually, in the very beginning, zealots, and by zealot I just mean people who have very strong feelings about a particular thing.
Somebody who's really
that's not a negative, by the way. It's just you're a zealot. I mean, I'm a zealot about some things. I'm a zealot about the Denver Broncos. I got a huge Denver Broncos hat right here in front of me.
He's weird.
They're the best. Anyway, these zealots, they think that it's an all or nothing kind of situation, and that's why they scream and yell outside of a judge's home, because they think that once the ruling happens that the whole world comes to an end. That's not what happens. You go to work.
People are nothing from the 70s.
Exactly.
The people in the 70s didn't protest outside of, like, their grandma's house. They went and they protested to the people who could change what they were mad about. The people who could bring people home from war.
Right, and that's who you make it the most inconvenient for those people.
Right.
You know, that's...
You want the people who can make a change to hear your yelling and screaming. Some advice for both sides.
Well, and the thing is, they think they're doing that by protesting outside of Supreme Court justices' homes.
But they're not.
They think they're doing that, but they're not doing that.
They should have paid more attention in civics.
Right. And instead, I mean, it's also illegal. There's a federal law that says you can't intimidate a judge by protesting outside their home. So then why aren't they enforcing the law?
And wouldn't all that judge have had to do was call some kind of higher level police force and been like, yo, I feel intimidated by these protesters outside my house, and kindly send them to jail?
And the fact that hasn't happened says a lot.
Right.
But at the same time, why hasn't the police done its job and picked these people up?
But it should happen, because I feel like it's not happening, because the Supreme Court justices in question don't feel threatened and aren't going to change their mind because of the protesters, and they know that. And they don't want to outrage the left again by getting their protesters arrested.
Well, right. And you know what? To kind of transition off of this topic, I'm going to say this. The leak happened about 2 weeks ago. And that's kind of interesting to me, because in 2 weeks from now, we are going to evacuate this crazy state called California, and we are going to be reviving ourselves in the crazy city of Las Vegas, Nevada.
Yes, we are. And we are damned excited. And Bree is damned excited, and Yogi is damned excited. We took them to visit their new backyard, which is effectively their very own personal dog park. And they are so excited to go from second-floor apartment dwellers to house dwellers with a yard.
Yeah, they were excited.
Yes.
And there's a park right across the street from the place.
With grass.
And it has grass, and we throw the ball for Bree, and she runs, and Yogi, he just roams around. But my point in, mentioning this is that instead of just complaining, do something to change your situation. We didn't take, in the grand scheme of things, it took us a while to get here. All right.
Right.
But if you really, really think it through, okay, if you really, really consider this has been a 4.5, maybe 5-year plan in the making.
I think so. Yeah. We started talking about it about a year after I moved here.
Yeah. And then I know we were in 2019, we were in Arizona, checking Arizona out.
Yes.
And then
we didn't fall in love.
Right. And then the end of 2019, we were in Denver.
We fell in like.
We liked Denver a lot. And it was at that point definitely number one choice.
Yeah.
And then we seriously looked at Vegas and looking at houses and whatnot. And then I think we were like, interesting. This is a nice place. And
neither one of us is in love with the fact that it's the desert. But after experiencing a night with central air, I'm good.
Yeah, exactly.
I am good. That was fantastic.
It's going to be exciting, but that's going to give the birth to the new video podcast called What Happens in Vegas. And you're going to find things like in search of the best tacos in Las Vegas.
There's a 5% chance you will see a Torya on video.
Yeah.
That's shocking.
And, we're going to find you the best tacos in Las Vegas. And, we have a unique way of doing it. You're going to have to go listen to the introductory episode that'll come out, I don't know,
late summer.
Couple more weeks after this episode airs, maybe 3-4 weeks after this episode airs. Look for that. It's, it's there. And I want you to subscribe to the channel and give it your support. Comment on the videos when they come out and tell us in the comments on the videos what you want us to cover, because we've got a lot of great ideas ourselves, but we need your help. And so it's going to be great because we're going to be able to record our new adventures. We're going to have those adventures anyway, so we might as well share them with you.
We're going to let you guys in on everything that we do. The places to eat, the places to play, things to listen to.
To be transparent, the only things we're not letting you in on is date night. If we're having date night, you're not included. Sorry.
Heck, come on now. We visit all kinds of weird places. We went to the Erotic Heritage Museum. We would let you guys in on that.
Yeah. As best we could, because they don't allow filming in there.
They allowed filming in that lobby area.
Yeah.
And that would do the trick.
Yeah, that'd have been it.
Yeah. Come on now. We went to the Love Store, and we have a hilarious story to share.
Yeah, and all of that will come up in future videos. So be watching for that. What happens in Vegas, and we'll give you continual updates here on where we are with that. And so
the next couple of weeks are pretty crazy for us. We've got all these big plans. We've got our move, and then shortly after that we have What Happens in Vegas coming out, and
yeah, and then there's some other things we can't talk about yet, but they're in the works too. So it's going to be crazy busy with moving. I mean, it's not as easy moving from. We were talking about this, you move, even if you're moving an hour away from where you live, if you needed to go there for some reason, to let somebody in or whatnot, you could do that.
4 hours is a big deal.
4 hours one way is a huge deal. And so moving had to be coordinated. It's why we had to take our trip this past weekend to Vegas, was so that we could coordinate the stupid stuff. But I feel like we were smart to do that, because when we get there, things as stupid as having paper towel and toilet paper. It's taken care of, man.
Right, we
There
don't
are
have to
shower
wait to
curtains
unpack
up.
the toilet paper box.
There are shower curtains up on 2 showers. Both of them have shower curtains up. So we can take a shower if necessary, right away.
We accomplished this weekend what we needed to accomplish to make sure that we weren't in extreme discomfort right after we arrived there with all of the rest of our stuff.
Yeah, I was proud of us for doing that. And I'm kind of proud of how we've been packing. I got the whole idea today about the TV boxes because I thought, that's a long drive, and if the stuff shifts, it could crash right through your TV, and I don't really feel like it's costing me enough money to move. I don't want to buy new TVs. I just don't.
Right. I hear you.
So that's where we're at. That's what we're doing. We're like acrobats right now, keeping a bunch of balls in the air
We're doing
and
a
doing
pretty good job, though.
doing backflips, and we're heading towards a summit, Growth Summit 2022. Heading towards that. Don't miss out. Don't miss out. Don't miss out. tsbbsummit.com. Register over there. Don't miss out.
And on that fantastic note, good night, everyone.
Hasta la bye. Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Nightly Rant.
If you enjoyed the show, please give us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts or Google Play.
If you didn't enjoy the show, please just ignore that previous request for a rating.
This has been a Yogi's Podcast Network production.